Hi, in this live stream, I'm going to discuss about some of the useful information that um, we can find on the WHO's website related to coronavirus. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to straight away go to the WHO's website, and then I'll read out some of the very useful information. And it's important that you share this information with the near and dear ones. So if you go to WHO's website on the home page itself, you have a link related to coronavirus advice for the public. And there are various sections for this particular link. And then you can go each one of the section. I'm going to go to the advice for public. That's very important. There are other resources as well, such as situations, the media, technical guidance, and so on and so forth. But I think what's very important for the general public is the things that we have uh, in advice for public, right? And in that section there are four different sections. One is subsections. One is when and how to use masks. The second one is myth busters. Third one is advice for health workers, and the fourth one is getting workplace ready. Okay, let's go to the first one, when and how to use mask. What it says is that if you're healthy, you only need to wear a mask if you are taking care of a person who with suspected 2019 nCoV infection. Wear a mask if you're coughing or sneezing. Masks are effective only when used in combination with frequent hand cleaning with alcohol-based hand rub or soap and water. If you wear a mask, then you must know how to use it and dispose of it properly. So mask is not always useful. It is only useful if you are in close contact of a person who is having infection. Um, so you shouldn't be wearing always, first of all, and secondly, we should all you wear only if you are coughing or sneezing, so that you do not spread it to others. But what's important that mask alone cannot save us. It's just that we have to also wash your hand with soap and water. And then what's important to remember is that if you wear a mask, then you must know how to use it and dispose it. It means you should change your mask very often. Otherwise, if you keep wearing the same mask again and again, then it's not going to be very effective. Before putting on a mask, clean hands with alcohol-based hand rub or soap or water. Cover your mouth and nose with mask and make sure that there are no gaps between your face and the mask. So these are important things, right? If you do not clean your hand and start using the mask, then it's not going to be useful because you're touching your face with an uncleaned hand. So the chances of infection is also going to be very high if you do that. Avoid touching mask while using it. If you do, clean your hands with alcohol-based hand soap or soap water. So regardless, you should always avoid touching your face. Okay. Replace the mask with a new one as soon as it is damp, and do not use single-use masks. So make sure that you have more than one mask, preferably a bundle of masks, so that you can change it frequently. To remove the mask, remove it from behind and discard it immediately in a closed bin. Clean hands with alcohol-based hand rub and soap and water. So when you are removing the mask, make sure that you do it from behind, um, not from the front side, because otherwise you'll be touching your face and it's not going to be very effective. And then once it is removed, they throw it in a dustbin. Make sure that you don't touch it. You don't put it on other places. So make sure to do that. All right, so these are the basic things to keep in mind if you are using masks. Some myth busters. Okay, so we'll get the next subsection. The first myth is the COVID-19 virus can be transmitted in with hot and humid climate. Uh, from the evidence so far, the COVID-19 virus can be transmitted in all areas, including areas with hot and humid weather. Some people are thinking that in hot and humid weather it cannot transfer, but there's no scientific evidence of that as of today. Regardless of climate, adopt protective measures if you live in and travel to an area reporting COVID-19. The best way to protect yourself against COVID-19 is by frequently cleaning your hands. By doing this, you eliminate viruses that may be on your hands and avoid infection that could occur by touching your eyes, mouth, and nose, because that's the way the you get infected. So don't be assured of the fact that you're living in a humid place, so the chances of being infected by virus is very low. That's not true because there is no evidence of that happening. So it's important that to follow the the rules that WHO and other health agency and governments are telling us, washing your hands and taking other precautions. Cold water. The second myth is cold water and snow cannot kill the new virus. There is no reason to believe that cold water can kill the new virus or other diseases. The normal human body temperature remains around 36 to 37 degrees Celsius. Regardless of the external temperature of weather, the most effective way to protect against new virus is by frequently cleaning the hand. So temperature doesn't play much role. At least we do not know for now. Probably we'll get to know about it in future. But the research that so far people have done, there is no evidence to believe that temperature, whether it's low or high, kills the virus. There is no evidence of this. So please do not spread this false information to people, because as per the WHO, it doesn't help. The only thing that helps is washing your hand and be hygienic and things like that. The next one is taking a hot bath does not prevent the new coronavirus disease. Taking a hot bath will not prevent you from coronavirus. That's for sure. Your normal body temperature remains around 37 degrees Celsius, regardless of the temperature of your bath or shower. Actually, taking a hot bath with extremely hot water can be harmful as it can burn you. The best way to protect yourself against COVID-19 is to frequently cleaning your hand. So, yeah, I mean, taking a hot bath is not going to help. So, the new coronavirus cannot be transmitted through mosquito bites. To date, there has been no information nor evidence to suggest that new coronavirus could be transmitted to mosquitoes. The new coronavirus is respiratory virus, which spreads primarily through droplets generated when an infected person coughs and sneezes, and through droplets of saliva and discharge from the nose. To protect yourself, clean your hands frequently with an alcohol-based hand rub or wash them with soap and water. Also, avoid close contact with anyone who is coughing and sneezing. So, there is no evidence that coronavirus will spread through mosquitoes. But it's always good to avoid mosquitoes, and you should take protections because mosquitoes cause many other diseases such as malaria, dengue, and so on. So it's always good to protect yourself from mosquitoes, but there is no reason to believe that mosquitoes are the carrier of this virus and you'll get infected when mosquitoes bite you. So that's not true. Next one, are hand dryers effective in killing the new coronavirus? No, the simple answer is no. Hand dryers are not effective in killing the 2019 nCoV virus. To protect yourself against the new coronavirus, you should frequently clean your hands, which again we're repeating, but that is the most important precautions that we should be taking. Not to believe in other things such as making hot bath or using hand dryer to clean your hands. Not going to be very effective. Then, can an ultraviolet infection um, kill the new virus. The UV lamps should not be used to sterilize hands and other areas of skin, as UV radiation can cause skin irritation and also other kinds of diseases. So ultraviolet, there's no evidence, scientific evidence of the fact that ultraviolet disinfection lamp is useful. So don't use. How effective are thermal scanners in detecting people infected with new coronavirus? Scanners are effective in detecting people who have developed a fever, have a higher than normal body temperature because of the infection with the new coronavirus. However, they cannot detect people who are infected but are not yet sick with fever. This is because it takes about 2 to 10 days before the people who are infected become sick and develop a fever. So, you might have heard that people are using thermal scanner to scan people to detect whether you have coronavirus or not. But that's only gives you the preliminary or some sort of a vague picture of who is affected, who is not. But there's no guarantee as such. Someone with fever also could be because he's having some other fever, or sometimes people having absolutely normal temperature, body temperature, they could also be affected already. And it takes a couple of days before you develop fever and other symptoms. So if you have been to risk areas, so it's always good to self quarantine yourself. Do not believe that you since you do not have fever, you do not have coronavirus. That's not true. You could develop the fever in a couple of days time. So always good to quarantine yourself for at least 2 weeks. And spraying alcohol, chlorine all over your body kill the coronavirus? Okay, that's a very important question, right? No. The simple answer is no. Spraying alcohol or chlorine all over your body will not kill virus that have already entered your body. Spraying such substances can be harmful to clothes and mucous membranes. Be aware that both alcohol and chlorine can be useful to disinfect surfaces, but they need not be used under appropriate recommendations. So they need to be used under appropriate recommendations. So if you drink alcohol and you try to infect your body through chlorine, it's not going to be useful. In fact, it will cause a lot of problems to your skin and your health. So don't do that. It's good to clean something like cleaning surfaces and all. You can use alcohol and chlorine, but not for these kind of things. So don't use. Do vaccines get against pneumonia protect you against the new coronavirus? The answer is no. The existing vaccines are of no use. In fact, vaccines against pneumonia, such as the new pneumococcal vaccines and Haemophilus influenza type B HIV vaccines, do not provide protection against the new coronavirus. The virus is so new and different that it needs its own vaccine. The virus itself is quite new. There's no medicine or no vaccine as of today. There is no vaccine readily available in the market. Researchers are currently trying to develop one, but it's going to take a while before we have the vaccine available for use. Although these vaccines are not effective against coronavirus, vaccination against respiratory illness is highly recommended to protect your health, especially for the elderly, for the vulnerable section of the society. Vaccination against respiratory illnesses always helps. Can regulatory, can regularly rinsing your nose with saline help prevent infection with the new coronavirus? No, there is no evidence regularly rinsing the nose with saline help protect from infections. There is no evidence of that. Can eating garlic help prevent infection with the new coronavirus? That's not true. In many countries, it's a news that maybe garlic is very useful. Well, garlic is always very good for health. It has antimicrobial properties, but there is no evidence, scientific evidence, that eating garlic will protect you from coronavirus. Although it is highly recommended that you eat garlic, enough garlic, um, and it good for health, but there is no evidence to prove that it's good for health. It can protect you from coronavirus. Does the new coronavirus affect older people or younger people also susceptible? People of all ages can be affected by the virus, so there's no question about that. Everyone can be affected. Older people and people with pre-existing medical conditions such as asthma, diabetes, heart disease appear to be more vulnerable to becoming severely ill with the virus. Who advises people with all ages to take steps to protect themselves from the virus, for example, by following good hand hygiene and good respiratory hygiene. So young people are less likely to to get infected, but older people are more likely. But it does not guarantee that people will younger age will not at all fall ill or they will not have an issue. That's not true. Are antibiotics effective in preventing and treating the new coronavirus? The answer is no. Antibiotics do not work against viruses. Uh, they, they're only useful against the bacteria. The new coronavirus is a virus, and therefore antibiotics should not be used as a means of prevention or treatment. So antibiotics are used against bacteria, not against viruses. So it's not useful. All right. Are there any specific medicines to prevent or treat the new coronavirus? To date, there is no specific medicine recommended to prevent the treat of coronavirus. However, those infected with the virus should receive appropriate care to receive and treat symptoms, and those with severe illness should receive optimized supporting care. Some specific treatments are under investigation as per, um, and they're under a clinical trial, so nothing is finalized yet. So there is no proper vaccination available as of today. Yeah, so there is no medicine available for this disease. So these are some of the myth busters. What else? So if you do a simple Google search, you can find the website of WHO. It stands for World Health Organization. It's a very credible source. You can get good information from this website. Um, it also has its regional sites, like you can find what's happening in Europe, Asia, and so on. So that also is possible. Um, if you cannot understand the language, because not everybody can understand English, you can always use Google Translate to translate to your local language, or you can ask people to read these articles and then translate for you. If you go to the WHO's front page, you have the link, so it's easy. You simply go there and yeah, you will also have video lecture. If you cannot you don't want to read, you have video lecture. It also gives you the number of confirmed cases, the number of deaths so far, and then some training as to how you can protect yourself, instructions for medical staff. So if you are working in the hospital industry, um, yeah, let's go through some of the questions asked. So many questions. Okay, maybe let's quickly go through these questions. What is coronavirus? Coronavirus are large family of viruses which may cause illness in animals and humans. In humans, several coronaviruses are known to cause respiratory infections, ranging from the common cold to more severe diseases such as the MERS, the SARS, and so on. What is COVID 19? COVID 19, okay, let me read it out for you. The most common symptoms of COVID 19 are fever, tiredness, dry cough. Some patients may have aches and pains, nasal congestion, runny nose, sore throat. Diarrhea. These symptoms are usually mild and begin gradually. Some people become infected but don't develop any symptoms, don't feel unwell. Most people, about 80%, recover from the disease without needing any special treatment. Around 1 out of 6 people who gets COVID-19, which is the official name of coronavirus, becomes seriously ill and develops difficulty breathing. Older people and those with underlying medical problems like high blood pressure, heart problem, and diabetes are most likely to develop serious illness. So 80% people will develop only mild symptoms, right? And only the old people, most vulnerable people, are more likely to get severe symptoms. How does COVID-19 spreads? It's through uh, the disease can spread from person to person through small droplets from the nose and mouth, which the droplets come out of your mouth and nose when you're sneezing or coughing. These droplets land on objects and surfaces around the person. When you touch these surfaces, then you get infected. Can the virus that causes COVID-19 be transmitted through air? Studies to date suggest that the virus that causes COVID-19 is mainly transmitted through contact with respiratory droplets rather than through the air. So there is no evidence as such, but it cannot be ruled out at the same time. So it's always good to maintain distance. If you know a person affected, you should always maintain distance from him, even if you do not know. Now that it is spreading at so quickly, so it's better to maintain social distancing from other people. Do not go to crowded places. Avoid public places where you have so many people, such as malls, shopping malls, or theater or restaurants and so on. So try to avoid these places. Can COVID be caught from a person who has no symptoms? The main way the disease spreads is through respiratory droplets expelled by someone who is coughing. The risk of catching COVID-19 from someone with no symptoms will all at all is very low. There is no reason to believe that someone who has no coronavirus or there's no symptoms of him, he will be the one who will give you the disease or will spread the disease among people. That's not true. But you never know who has or who has the virus and who doesn't have the virus. But yeah, so it's if you have been to a affected place, it's always good to self quarantine. What can I do to prevent myself? So I think there's some guidelines, right? Regularly and thoroughly clean your hand with alcohol-based hand rub. Maintain at least 1 meter distance from yourself and anyone who is coughing and sneezing. Avoid touching your nose and mouth. Make sure the people around you follow good respiratory hygiene. Stay home if you feel unwell. If you have fever, cough, or difficulty breathing, seek medical attention. Call in advance. Follow the directions of your local health authority. Why? National and local authority will have the most up-to-date information on the situation in your area. So it's always good to be in contact with the health service of the country you're living in, and also always keep up to date on the latest COVID situations and the cities and people. I mean the places that are um, risky. So don't stop your traveling to those places. Okay, I will take this one. The last question will take, which is about should I worry about COVID 19? Illness due to COVID 19 infection is generally mild, especially for children and young adults. It's quite mild. However, it can cause serious illness. About 1 in every 5 people who catch it need hospital care. So, it is therefore quite normal for people to worry about how the COVID 19 outbreak will affect them and their loved ones. We can channel our concerns into actions to protect ourselves. So, instead of panicking, it's better to simply take actions to protect ourselves and our loved ones. First and foremost, among these actions is regular and thorough hand washing and good respiratory hygiene. Secondly, keep informed and follow the advice of the local health authorities, including any restriction put in place on travel, movement, and gathering. So the whole idea is not to panic, maintain good hygiene, hand hygiene, respiratory hygiene. Do not travel. Do not try to be at home at least for next few weeks. It's very important. All right. So these are some things you can find on the WHO's website. Hope you find this video useful. You may also share this one. You may also share the website of WHO with people. It's who.int. So for more information, please always visit this website.